Have a break, have a coffee. Welcome to another episode of Unpacked, the Siemens Packaging Podcast. If you have been following our podcast series, you will have noticed that AI, artificial intelligence, is currently one of the IT topics, not just in packaging. In almost every episode, my guests have at least mentioned AI as one of the potential game changers for packaging. However, I have a feeling that there is a bit of disenchantment with AI recently. That technology still has some shortfalls in terms of reliability and especially data requirements. Today, I will have the opportunity to talk about this with Dirk Verbeek. He works for the Dutch packaging specialist Sollas. They have been working with Siemens on implementing AI-generated software in their machine solutions. Hi Dirk, thanks for taking the time. How are you?
Thank you, I'm fine. At the moment we are quite busy with implementing the AI function blocks to our customer pilot project. So it's starting really.
This is interesting. I'm actually quite glad you mentioned this because this was a question that I had in the last 2 years. And I know that you've been working with AI quite a while, but I've also tried this. And what I seem to notice is that AI is pretty tricky, especially generative AI. It does not always work as expected. Is this your experience as well?
Yes and no. To make it a little bit more clear in which context we used AI, I need to explain what we have done. We have created software as function blocks for the machine. So we don't run AI in the machine. We create function blocks besides the machine that can run in the machine itself. And that makes a big difference in predictability. To be more clear, we used together with Siemens reinforced learning, and that was done outside of the machine. This means for us and also for Siemens that you can play with the software, play with the models and play with the results without disturbing the process of the machine. And when the learning is complete, then you put the software in the machine and validate the results.
Did that work from scratch? Was this a straightforward process?
No, not straightforward. It was, of course, we had also some unpredictable results. Our co-developer from Siemens, Niklas, was making the models, and during the training there were from time to time some unpredicted behavior. But as soon as the software was loaded in the machine, the state was frozen. So from that point, the machine was not learning anymore by itself. And that means that the output of the machine was also predictable.
So this is also a difference between what I use AI for and what you're doing. So you're not having the same problems.
No, we don't have the same problems. If you generate AI, you have always some problems. I don't think that a flawless AI model in the first time will work. That's a utopia, I think. However, our algorithm was not hallucinating, or if you mean something like that.
Yeah, this is a phenomenon that you're very familiar with if you're using things like ChatGPT. Sometimes you get results that are just, I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah, exactly. He's really creative sometimes in the answers. We had definitely not the first time right. The goal of the software that we were writing was to keep the buffer as stable as possible. But the result was that it reacts really aggressive, more aggressive than would be useful. And then we need to change the parameters of the model and train it again. And that whole process took around 5 iterations to get the final results.
Yeah.
So it was definitely not first time right. But the end result is not hallucinating or creating weird stuff.
Yes, this is something that is also quite well known, actually, that you have to find the right goals or parameters for the AI to optimize towards. And this is something that you still need human intelligence.
Yeah.
So actually having the statement of AI replacing humans, that's a bit of a hype, don't you think?
I think for sure. At the moment, the technology is completely new. We need to see what is possible to do with it. But it's definitely not mature enough to replace human intelligence in total. You still have to look at it, how it is working, and what it's capable of.
And this is what you do, and you do this also with Siemens, correct?
Yeah, definitely. We do a lot of projects together with Siemens. Now we did the AI. We do it on many different aspects of the market. Normally, I'm saying we are not really early adapters in new technology. I always say we are early investigators. And that's also what we did here. It's easier to get on the train and check if it is the right train for you when it is standing still than it is running on high speed. For this application, it was useful. I would say, will we do now from now on all our engineering with AI? Definitely not. In some cases, it is more labor intensive to create the AI model than do it in the traditional way. But for complex cases like we have now, it definitely works.
This is a very nice train of thought, early investigators, to be one of the first to explore what a technology is suited for and what may be out of its range. But one question that now pops to my mind is, actually this AI-generated software is a very essential part of your machine. And you're working with Siemens. How do you feel about sharing knowledge or sharing expertise in that way?
You need to work together. We don't have all the know-how. Siemens has an idea for the future, how to work. We as Sollas, we need customers to test our ideas, to bring our products forward and bring it to the market. If we need it, then it also is for our suppliers that they need to have customers that are willing to work together. Siemens can also not put new products in the market without having a pilot project. And that's a mindset that Sollas has to test new ideas. Yeah, and that's also with suppliers.
Definitely. This is an excellent approach to exploring new technologies, to not say this is mine and this is yours, but to really work together. This is something that you don't hear very often. Now that you tested this AI-generated software, what would you say? How mature is AI? Is it ready for widespread application, or is it still restricted to, pilot applications?
It is definitely not suitable for everybody and also not for every case. The learning curves are still quite big and steep. And I said curves in plural because it is not only the learning curve of the AI model itself, as well as training the OT programmer to switch to IT programming. And that's also a challenge. If I look for the Sollas organization, our engineering departments are mainly OT programmers. So we are completely familiar with the TIA portal from Siemens. But as soon as you start AI models, you go to Python scripting. And that's a completely different way of programming. So you need to learn that as well. And it's also depending on the type of AI that you will use. In our case, it was reinforced learning, so you don't need to have a lot of data before you start. But for some cases, you really need to have a lot of data before you start. And in many cases, that data is not available yet. So it is very important, in my opinion, to start explore what you want to do with AI and make yourself ready for it. And if that means that you need to collect already data now to use in the future, do it and be ready.
Thank you so much, Dirk. This was very interesting. Unfortunately, our time is up for today. So I will let you get back to your work. Good luck with your pilot project. Hope it goes well. And thanks for being on our show.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So this was it for today. Some very interesting insights from Dirk Verbeek on how they are using AI in their solutions. Sollas did not have the same problems that you typically have when you're using things like generative AI, but they also had some issues that they needed to solve. They had to retrain their model, they had to adjust the parameter settings. So AI is not just a blank tool that everybody can use for everything. But still, he is certain that it pays off to invest in the technology and to do that as an early investigator, so that you have the expertise, the knowledge, the organization, and especially the data ready for when you really decide to use AI in your processes. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of our packaging podcast. As always, you will find the transcript next to the recording. Thanks for listening, and please like, subscribe, and share. Join us again in our next episode.